Before we do the Caton scholarship, just a couple things. One is, I don't know if you have the sponsorship slide, but if you don't, or even if you do, I'm just going to thank the partners. This does cost money, and we're in this beautiful place. I don't know about the filtration system and the ventilation, but I still think it's great, and great to be in person. So the partners, you can see them on your program: Health Canada, Ministry of Environment and Climate Change Strategy of BC, the National Collaborating Centre for Environmental Health, the BC Centre for Disease Control, University of British Columbia, Simon Fraser University, Metro Vancouver, Legacy for Airway Health, and the BC Lung Foundation, of course. So let's thank them, because it doesn't happen automatically. And this is a somewhat random thing, but one of my colleagues noted that, interestingly, next door, literally like through those doors, there's a healthcare infrastructure of Western Canada group that's having a fireside chat, which is kind of an interesting unintended pun. But it's about implementing energy and environmental sustainability measures to cut emissions at healthcare facilities. So I thought that was kind of everyone seems to be focused on the right thing, I guess, so that's kind of interesting. And then just finally, before Caton, I wanted to ask Men, or whoever, if she's not here, we have the evaluations, of course, you've heard that from me several times, but for the online folks, is there an evaluation? I had a question about how the online folks are going to evaluate. So I'll leave that to Men or whoever, because people want to share their thoughts. And with that, I am going to hand over for the Caton scholarships, I think, Elizabeth, or not. Come on up, please.
Hi, I'm Kathy Preston. I'm with Metro Vancouver. And this is an annual event, and we're always so thankful to the committee for this workshop for allowing us to make this presentation every year of scholarships. The Robert Caton Scholarship was established to honor the memory of Dr. Robert Brent Caton, a scholar, entrepreneur, and expert in the field of air quality, atmospheric emissions, environmental management, and policy. Bob was a passionate defender of the environment and was in the forefront in the development of many of the concepts and practices that have become best practice in terms of identifying and managing environmental issues. Bob was an atmospheric chemist of considerable expertise, but his interests and contributions to environmental issues were broad. Bob was well known for his unshakable integrity, as well as for his support and mentoring of students and working scientists. The Robert Caton Scholarship was originally established by contributions from friends and colleagues. The BC Clean Air Research Fund also contributed. This scholarship is intended to support graduate-level students within the environmental sciences with high ideals, demonstrated interest in studies relating to atmospheric sciences, air quality, and health or policy, and specific goals leading to future work in that field. In the past, we have also awarded a David Bates Scholarship. However, this year, one application stood out head and shoulders above the rest, and therefore the committee decided to award only one $4,000 scholarship to Sakshi Jain. And I'll just tell you a little bit about her. Sakshi is a PhD candidate under Dr. Naomi Zimmerman in the Department of Mechanical Engineering at UBC. After completing a master's in science from Carnegie Mellon University in the US, she joined UBC in 2018 to explore the intersection of air quality and health. Her research work involves using low-cost air quality sensor data to improve the understanding of factors affecting exposure. She is especially interested in addressing the inequities associated with air pollution. Outside of the School of school, she enjoys reading, swimming, and playing board games. So please join me in congratulating Sakshi, and she's actually going to come up and tell us a little bit about her research.
Thank you all, and thank you, Kathy, for the introduction. Just want to reiterate, I'm a fourth-year PhD candidate now at UBC. And before I start talking about what I do, I want to extend my gratitude towards the scholarship committee for providing me with this opportunity to be here, for supporting me and my work. So my research work is essentially using low-cost air quality sensors to address exposure differences in different areas. Recent advancement in this technology has presented a new and affordable opportunity to understand and subsequently improve air quality. Since improvement in air quality can have substantial health and environmental benefits, as everybody here must know, this development in technology is often sold as a means to improve air quality in areas significantly affected by poor air quality, but where limited monitoring currently exists. For example, in low and middle income countries. However, despite these expected benefits from low-cost sensor deployment in these spaces, the vast majority of deployment have been in developed nations where monitoring currently exists, as in these low-cost sensors are a supplemental source of information. So as such, there are two different places where low-cost sensors can be explored and used for improving our understanding of exposure, which is the two applications that I have focused for my PhD. The first one is in developed nations. So talking about using low-cost sensors in developed nations, since air quality data collected via these sensors already exist, there is an opportunity and a chance to improve our understanding of factors affecting small-scale spatial and temporal variations via modeling and mapping technologies. These detailed air pollution maps can be used to improve overall exposure estimates if we add it to mobility patterns of residents. So as such, I used the data collected via 50 low-cost sensors in 2017 by researchers at Carnegie Mellon University and created prediction and exposure models with the aim that this would be useful for the research community in developing air pollutant models for cities with limited monitoring access or due to either access or cost. Additionally, the hope is that it can help us determine the reduction in exposure and mortality rate due to changing of behavior of the residents if they move from one location to another, and what time do they move and how do they move. So that is the first place and first project that I focus on. The second one is using these low-cost sensors in low and middle income spaces and nations, as there is a high probability of making improvement and large-scale changes that can happen if we have more information about these spaces. So, as I said previously, there is generally lack of monitoring in low and middle income countries. For reference, Vancouver itself has about 10 different monitoring stations by Metro Vancouver, as compared to India as a nation has about 50 in total, which is increasing at this point. Like, the number of monitoring stations are increasing, but it is, considering the spatial variations that happen or that exist in pollutants, it's not enough to have accurate representation of exposure impacts. So as such, these low-cost sensors provide us with an opportunity to improve our understanding of exposure in unmonitored areas by analyzing relationship with both indoor and outdoor concentrations. I mention indoor concentrations because household air pollution in these low-middle income countries is worse than last year's BC's wildfire by a large margin, and it has its own large disease of burden and contribute towards increased outdoor concentrations in some areas. Therefore, Data collected in these countries have the potential to significantly impact our understanding of global mortality due to exposure to air pollutants. As such, to address this, I deployed 16 low-cost sensors in rural India in 2019, right before the pandemic. So yay! I finished the fieldwork for about 6 weeks to measure air pollutant concentrations due to biomass cooking emissions, while simultaneously surveyed households and gathered information to understand behavior, ventilation characteristic, and the satisfaction towards air quality of the residents in these rural spaces. So the aim of this project is that the results of this project assist in easier adoption of low-cost sensors for researchers all across the world to extend their work in areas with poor air quality, and therefore facilitate an improvement in exposure estimates and in improving our understanding of health and environmental impacts of biomass cooking activities. So to summarize the projects that I'm currently working with, my work basically involves assessing these two diverse scenarios for application of low-cost sensors to improve our overall understanding of factors affecting exposure and identifying areas of concern. That is, to identify factors that should be addressed at a larger scale, that is situation and situational factors to support policy recommendations, and behavioral changes that can be suggested to the general public. And yeah, that's it. Feel free to reach out if you want to chat. And again, I want to thank the committee for giving me this opportunity.